Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and you are listening to another episode of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But, ladies and gentlemen, you and I would just call this show Online Marketing Moves, and we are coming to you live today. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share something with you right now. Ladies and gents, when you are creating content, when you are doing this stuff, one thing that you must have, one thing that I have is supreme confidence. Okay, almost a blind, almost a hey. It's like hey, not even. It's more of a belief. It's more a belief of this is what I should be doing. Okay, you don't understand, ladies and gents. And what I mean by that is I know a lot of people, they do it halfway. Oh, I'm in it, but I'm not in it. They got 1 foot in, they got 1 foot out. Me, I got 2 feet in. We create content, we make the podcast, we upload videos on the YouTube. We are only gonna do this more, and we are gonna only start doing more videos, more uploading, more selling, more telling. We are only gonna get more and more and more into your world, into your life. So, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself. Okay, you gotta have the utmost confidence. You gotta have a belief that hey, this is what I should be doing. I should be uploading content every day because people actually do. The most important thing that you can be is consistent. Okay, whether you upload a TikTok video once a day, you upload a YouTube video twice a day, YouTube Shorts. You got to, cut, clip, paste. You got to do all that. But be uploading stuff on a daily basis. Okay. I mean, listen, I am the king of YouTube right now. Okay, I upload on YouTube, upload these podcasts, upload the shorts, and people are more and more watching. We need you to go. Today, I'm only going to ask you for one thing. Today, I'm only going to ask you to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, okay? Because eventually, Spotify count your days. I'm sick of Spotify. I'm gonna be honest with you. Before we launch into the subject, I'm sick of you, Spotify. Count your days, Spotify. Spotify. Of course, they give money to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Give them a bunch of money, and they do absolutely nothing. Okay, here we are churning out podcasts left and right. Spotify, no budget, no advance, no nothing. You know why? Because Spotify is just like Spotify is like most humans. Okay, they always wait to get on the train last. This podcast is gonna grow and grow and grow, and then eventually Spotify they're gonna come and they're gonna kiss our rear ends, and I'm gonna say Spotify, thanks but no thanks. Okay. It's just the way it is. They gave money to Obama, waste of time. They gave money to Prince Harry and them, waste of time. Okay, but they see somebody posting every day. I miss. When I first started this show, it was on Anchor. Okay, I started this on Anchor, and if I would have known that Anchor was going to sell out to Spotify, I would have started on some other platform. But here we are, and I'm basically too lazy to change right now. And so I keep uploading on Spotify, but mainly I upload on. I have Riverside, which I like. I enjoy doing my show on Riverside. Riverside, they have a lot of great options. I like doing the Riverside studio, and then of course I save my little podcast and stuff, and then I upload it on Spotify. But Spotify, count your damn days, okay? We got beef. We got beef. We got beef. They don't even know that we got beef. But I'm telling you right now, Spotify, count your days. But ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about something very important. Ladies and gents. Oh yeah, and by the way, tune in tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have today's going to be an exciting show. Tomorrow's going to be an exciting show. Tomorrow we are going to discuss the celebrity hanger-ons. Okay, we are going to go from Kato Kalin to people you probably never heard of, but there they are, always hanging around, always doing interviews on podcasts. It seems to be like a business to be in the shadow of a celebrity. And two people I noticed that they always have people sort of like hanging around them and talking about them is Jay-Z. Jay-Z has friends from like 30 years ago. They're like, yeah, I used to walk the streets of Marcy with Jay-Z. Then they get these interviews and they go on and on and on and on. And you got to think, like, is it sad or is it smart on their part? So we would get into that. But today we are going to talk about why. And ESPN, you count your days too. ESPN, they suck, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I used to love ESPN, and this is coming from a guy who loved ESPN. I used to enjoy watching Sports Center. I used to enjoy watching Sunday NFL Countdown with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. But over the years, ESPN is an erosion. They are aloof. They are disgusting. Okay, but I don't know if I can blame. I don't know who to blame. Should I blame you or should I blame ESPN? Which one should we blame? Because ESPN is only giving people what they think they want to hear. And so I was walking by TV the other day. I was at a truck stop. I'm walking by TV, and I saw that the Lakers just sold the Lakers just got sold for $10 billion. Okay, and if you even if you don't watch basketball, you know the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, let's not even. There are certain teams. There are about 3 or 4 teams in America that everybody knows. You know, we're gonna go with the Yankees. We're gonna go with the Lakers. Okay, we are gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. Those are probably the top 3. Okay, sorry, Boston Celtic fans, Dodger fans. People know y'all, but not globally. You got the Lakers, the Yankees, and probably the Dallas Cowboys. I would say those are the top 3. Okay. But right now is the NBA Finals, and they have a great NBA Finals going on between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. But instead of them waiting, to say, hey, the Lakers have been sold after the finals, what do? Now ESPN, they definitely know that if the Lakers were in the finals and the Indiana Pacers got sold, they would not announce that until after the finals. But the disrespect, and this is why the ESPN is trash, and this is why the NBA itself is trash. Now the NBA and the ESPN and the NBA, they go hand in hand, so they both have been eroding in my mind for a long time now. I don't even watch the NBA no more at this point. The NBA they are trash, okay? And so the NBA, they let this happen, and they like, hey, ESPN, run with it. And then of course, you got our boy Stephen A. Smith, but you can't be mad at Stephen A. Smith. I had to think about this, you can't be mad at these pundits on these networks because they're only doing what they get paid to do. And ESPN is never trying to develop like, hey, let's focus in on the Oklahoma City. Let's focus in on Indiana Pacers. No, they are like, oh, well, the ratings are down. I wonder why the ratings are down. Who's not watching? Why are they not watching? Is it because they need, a big market, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, hey, man, in football, if you have Green Bay, you got Kansas City, you got Indianapolis, you got all types of teams from all over the nation. And it does not matter, who makes it to the Super Bowl, because there will always be 80 million people watching the Super Bowl. And I know the Super Bowl is a one-time thing. And I know Super Bowl is an event. But the NBA Finals, it doesn't matter. If you watch basketball, if you watch the NBA, it should not matter that the Indiana Pacers are in the finals. You should be watching it, okay? But ESPN does a terrible job of promoting teams. All they care about is stars. All they care about is now, if the team was in New York, they would not have been talking about the Lakers getting sold for $10 million, okay? Or $10 billion, whatever. But since it's the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder, the NBA are like, hey, ESPN, go roll with it. And ESPN is like, for sure, we'll roll with it. And so the NBA, the NBA does a piss poor job of marketing the younger talent. They do a piss poor job. Oh no, they want to market Ja Morant. They market Ja Morant. Ja Morant always hurt, getting suspended. He's all right, but what has Ja Morant actually done in the last 5 years to make you say we should focus on Ja Morant? Anthony Edwards, yeah, he's cool. He's gotten to the Western Conference Finals a couple times. They like to focus on Ant-Man, but we all know that hey, Ant-Man could beat old superstars. He can't beat them YNs with motion. I just had to throw that in there. A YN with motion, okay? But Anthony Edwards, he keeps getting to the finals, which is better than Ja Morant. But They don't focus on the SGA, the Halliburtons. They don't focus on who they should be focusing on. They focus on, hey, you think John's gonna come back? Blah blah blah. Now that Stephen A. Smith said something about Memphis. I don't even know what he said about Memphis. I really don't care. They're like, well, Memphis. I don't know. It's always ESPN and the NBA. They always focus on stuff that does not matter instead of focusing on the game. We're about to have a game 7 in the NBA Finals, and what are we discussing? The Lakers selling for $10 billion, and the Lakers they ain't been good since they won the bubble, since they won the championship in the bubble in 2020. It's not a bubble championship; it's a real championship. Okay, folks, they won it in 2020. They've been eroding ever since, but we still keep going on and on about the Lakers. What are the Lakers gonna do? God bless LeBron James. He has been a great player. He is in the top 10 of all-time players. You cannot take that away from LeBron James, okay? But at this point in his career, he's on the downside. It's not a big deal. He's on the downside of his career. He's probably not going to go back to the finals anytime soon. I would assume this might be his last year or two. Who knows? But we should be celebrating. Of course, you got to celebrate somebody as great because LeBron. The one thing that LeBron James you cannot take away from him, he had the highest of the high expectations. He matched them. He exceeded them. He has been a great person for the NBA. Can't take that away from the man. But the coverage. Why are we still giving full-time coverage to a 40-year-old man who's on his last leg of his NBA career, okay? Listen, we all know he's going to go be an owner or whatever of some sport, some team, and that's going to be great. But his playing career, it's not a wrap, but it doesn't need to be as focused as it has been, okay? But ESPN, the NBA, they're gonna go on and on and on. I remember when the great Dr. J, it was his last year, and Dr. J he would go to different cities and they would give him stuff, and it was cool to see Dr. J in his last year. It was cool to see Kareem in his last year, I am sounding super old right now. But the one thing that the NBA did not do, they did not have full focus on those guys like ESPN tries to do with LeBron James. And so the ESPN has done a poor job of promoting the NBA, I believe, over the last 5 to 10 years. ESPN has gotten worse with just about everything. I like some of them people at ESPN. I mean, every now and then I get to see L. Duncan. L. Duncan, straight out of Atlanta, V103. I remember I used to hear on the radio. Now, every now and then when I see her, I go, hey, look, it's L. Duncan, man. L. Duncan's cool. Even Stephen A. Smith, he got his, I know he got to do shit and all that, and I get it, man. They want him to wear the cowboy hat, talk about Dallas when they ain't never no good, and people sign up for that. ESPN, you could do something better than what y'all been doing when it comes to the covering of the finals, when it comes to promoting the actual game, on the actual game itself. In the NBA, you've been trash, and we know that you don't want to promote nothing but LA, New York, Boston. I mean, shit. The NBA might as well just cut off the middle of the country. You know what I mean? The NBA might as well. The marketing of the NBA has been piss poor, okay? At best. For over. How long do you think? What do you say? What's your opinion? Me, the NBA has been doing a poor job for the last, I don't know how long, but I remember when San Antonio was running wild in the NBA. In the NBA, they was like, ugh. They didn't really want to promote San Antonio. They're like, ugh. Now, when the Lakers played San Antonio, of course, they was like, hey, come on. So I'm sure ESPN probably was praying that the Lakers would beat San Antonio. But I remember when San Antonio and Detroit played in the final. I believe San Antonio played New Jersey. ESPN was not. ESPN, they want that. They didn't want them headaches. They didn't want to promote. They didn't want to promote the game. Because you actually have to do some work when you're promoting, especially in the NBA, because the NBA, they focus on stars, they focus on, LA, Jack Nicholson, Spike, and San Antonio, who's a celebrity. For a while they had Eva Longoria down there when she was married to Tony Parker, and you would see her at the basketball games, but she's the only one. she's only one woman. She can't, she can't cover the whole celebrity wing. You know what I mean? But I mean, the marketing of the small market teams in the NBA is poor. The marketing of up and coming stars in the NBA poor. I mean, you don't know nothing. You really don't know much about Chet. I really don't see anything. I never see any kind of articles about SGA. I mean, I know Halliburton, and they show him every now and then, but his dad got more play in the playoffs than his son. And I mean, I know, if it bleeds, it leads. I get all that, but I don't understand the lousy marketing when it comes to the NBA. I just don't get it. Do not get it. And yeah, the Lakers sold for $10 billion. Yeah, that's great, but this is why the NFL has run amok over the NBA, and it's not even close anymore. The NBA, thank God they got Japan, thank God they got Asia, thank God they got the global market. Thank God for that, because when it comes to America, the NBA is on the back burner. The WNBA might be more popular at this point right now in America than the NBA, and that's saying something. And we all know the WNBA is poorly marketed itself. Okay. And they've been poorly marketed, and we discussed that I've discussed that in a couple of episodes, and I know, yeah, Caitlin Clark brings in the ratings, but they've had great players for quite some time, and they never really done a good job of promoting them, and they got lucky with Caitlin Clark. They got lucky that she was in Iowa, and it was a great setup. They try to make a rivalry which ain't there. Which, I mean, Angel Reese is a great basketball player in her own right, but that's not a rivalry. But they still trying to make that, like it's Bird and Magic. Come on, man. WNBA poorly marketed. The NBA poorly marketed. ESPN trash. I hate to be so negative, but it is what it is today. Okay, it's the NBA is. They would never do that with. They would never do that with the Knicks or the Lakers. They would never interrupt the finals to be like, hey, Jeannie Buss just sold for, you know what I'm saying? Hey, this team in Atlanta sold for $10 billion. Nah, that would never happen. They would never put them on the front street during the NBA finals. And there should be no other talk of the NBA but the NBA finals during the NBA. That's the problem that I have. This is the championship. Why are we not talking about the championship? We have a game 7 coming up, and I bet you they're still going to be talking about, well, what do you think about the Lakers? What's going to happen to LeBron? What's going to happen to Luka? What are the new owners going to do? Are they going to fire the coach? Are they going to keep the coach? What are they going to do? And what do you think the Knicks could be worth? If the Lakers are worth $10 billion, how much do you think the Knicks are worth? Do you think the Knicks will ever sell? Will James Dolan ever sell? What do you think? Tap in. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow. I told you tomorrow we're going to have a great time. We're going to talk about the marketing of the hanger-ons, okay? From Kato Kalin to Jaguar Wright to DeHaven to whoever else. I'm going to look up and do a little research and see all these people that are hanging on. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We'll be back tomorrow with the all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Zano. Thank you for listening. God bless each and every one of you. And as always, everybody, peace.